welcome to this episode of Chain Conversations. My name is Laura McQueen and I'm the MD here at Leaders. This season is part of a programme called the Leaders Meet Diversity series, which we've been running in partnership with Facebook for a couple of years now. Chain Conversation brings together leaders from a variety of backgrounds across professional sport to share their personal stories, to reflect on their own career journeys, pinpointing some peaks and troughs, some helps and hindrances along the way to share with you. The premise is simple, really. Person A picks person B to interview, person B picks person C to interview, and so on and so on. So over the course of the coming months, you'll really get exposed to quite a lot of independent personal journeys throughout the sports industry. The aim is to inspire you, to energise you, and to showcase why diverse thinking and diverse opportunity makes for a better business across sport and beyond. I really hope you enjoy it and speak to you soon.
Lenah Ueltzen-Gabell, Managing Director of EMEA at Wasserman. Welcome to Chain Conversations.
Thank you. Good morning to you. It's lovely to start the week with you, Hannah.
It's lovely to have you. I can see you're at home, Lenah. Tell us what's your lockdown location and your work from home situation?
Well, it's a bit of a movable feast. for when I need to do important calls, I'm down here in our sort of lounge, sort of my partial study here, but then it tends to be a bit of a super highway at times, certain times of the day. So I sort of scurry up to our loft and then work there, probably head down when I have to do any sort of important thinking work and strategy work. So I think we play, probably most people right now, we play a bit of musical chairs and scoop around the house between my son being home. And lovely living in London and have as much place to escape to. But it's fun. It keeps it fresh, and it's actually been amazing to be able to pause and have lunch and see my husband and son. And I can't believe it's almost been a year.
Given, Lenah, that we're kicking off season 2 of Chain Conversations, we're looking forward to a brand new year. Might not feel like it, given that we're still in lockdown, but nevertheless, it is a brand new year. So talk me through, have you set yourself any goals for 2021 or New Year's resolutions that you want to stick to?
Well, I think, let me start with goals for the team. We've been thinking a lot about this, and I think it's a really important time to sort of take a step back. It is a bit of Groundhog Day currently at the moment. I mean, I think, we all thought, hey, it's 21, we're going to jump right in. It's going to be a fresh year, a fresh pace. And obviously here in the UK particularly, it's a bit of a rinse and repeat. But that said, I think it's even more important to think of, okay, to challenge yourself for goals for the team and for the organization, because we still need to press on. There's a lot of hope this year with the vaccine. It's just going to take time, but I think the most part that we've been talking a lot about at Wasserman is the team and team morale and team motivation, because business is back. I mean, sports and entertainment are moving, maybe in a slightly different form, and challenged us in a number of different ways, but we can get into that. There's work to be done. There is a team that is ready and hungry to do it. I think we just need to help everyone see the light at the end of the tunnel and to stay connected and stay motivated in this time. So that's probably one of my goals for 21 in this, I call it a bridge year, a transition year, to hopefully get back to somewhat normal. And then from a business perspective, I think we just need to continue. A goal for me is to continue to evolve, continue to push ourselves. It was a fascinating time for Wasserman and for many other organizations during 2020 to really figure out what you're made of, figure out what's going to bring you through this very unprecedented, challenging time. And for us, we realized that, really our heart was in innovation. We took the time, it was our off season as well, and we came up with new products, we came up with new ways of thinking, we strategized with some of our brand clients to say, okay, well, this is a pause from your normal way of working. What do we do now? And so I think that's another goal for me, is to continue to not stop that, because that's always the thing at the end of the day, at the end of the list, is to really take that time for that free space thinking, strategic thinking, versus like getting through the list on a day-to-day basis. And that's another goal, I think, from an organizational perspective, and for myself, I want to make time for.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Wasserman, so that's obviously where you are currently. Let's talk a little bit about your journey into the sports industry. And you were at the MBA before you kind of came to Wasserman. So did you always know that you wanted to go into the sports industry? Did you take a bit more of a scenic route in? How did that work?
I definitely took a scenic route in. I have to say, look, it's the sports and entertainment world is a very interesting place. I know very few people who actually had a very direct path, and they woke up one day saying, like some people do, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a doctor, I want to work in, I want to work in sports. If you do say that when you're, I think, rather young and sort of making these decisions, you probably want to be an athlete. The sports side of things is something I find a lot of people fall into. I started off my I guess working world and career going into a family business. Actually, I was supposed to go into family in the US, and it was I'm the only child, so no, don't make any jokes. I know there are a lot of them that come with that, but I'm an only child, and so I was sort of deemed to take over the business. And one day I just sort of said, I don't love this. It's not my sandbox. It's not my world. I want to try and do, what do I love? And I grew up with it, so I thought, well, I love sports, but I'm no longer going to compete in it. So, but I love what it does for people. It's such an emotional space, and I think in music and entertainment, those are all people's outlets. So whether you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or a FTSE company, you lose yourself in these things, and then that's what really drove me to want to enter into the business. And it's a funny business, isn't it? That doesn't matter how many degrees you have or what you do, it's about time in the saddle. And so that's where I started in at the very bottom, right? I started working for the WNBA, and actually it was amazing because it gave me sort of from the ground up sort of look at the industry to really help me craft where I wanted to go. The funniest part, it's getting a bit long-winded, but the funniest part of where it all went though is that it's a business of relationships, and I never thought I would end up here at Wasserman. Never disrespect to any agencies, but I really like the property and the brand side, and I liked having decision making. And for me, agencies have a very bad reputation of being for takers. And it wasn't until I actually met the team at Wasserman, and it's not me just doing the punches, it's true, is that I was able to have a conversation with them when I was at the property and when I was at the MBA. And that's really a fantastic position to be in. An agency gets to see so many things and gets to really, and they have so much knowledge from doing so many different pieces of business and working on different clients, that if they are your partner for a brand or for a property, the solutions come, right? You are able to crack through any solution. It's not rocket science, but and that's what has always stuck with me in my transition to the agency side, is to really be a partner to our clients and properties and talent versus an organization. It actually just drives the industry forward, and I think that sort of served me well.
Yeah, it's definitely something, I think, coming back to this idea about communities coming together. Have you kind of seen throughout lockdown, throughout the last year, that feeling of, it's not a solution provider and a rights holder relationship anymore? It's actually, we're in this together and we're trying to get through it and navigate through it and find the right solution. Has that changed in your world?
I absolutely think that's changed. I think there are, this has put this industry on its knees, and it's the first time that I've ever seen the whole world, the entire world came to a standstill, right? We didn't know what to do. And when has that happened? Usually sports is the constant. If it's a recession, if it's, so on and so forth, you can always turn on the TV and that's your constant in the background. And that's given the industry a lot of power, but it's also probably made it a bit stagnant and a bit comfortable. And particularly the rights holders, and that's okay. You have a good thing, don't fix it if it isn't broken, right? And but this has made everyone have to pull together. Everyone has to figure out, how do I survive? How do I advance? How do I make this sustainable? And I've always believed in relationships in this industry as far as being much more equal and discussions and collaborative, and that's my favorite way to work personally. And it's really great to have that opportunity now. Even when you're having to negotiate through some potential make goods for clients or whatever, it's a conversation. These are hard conversations, but I think you need to approach them realistically and conscientiously, and as if it was your own money, or if it was, we're all trying to survive and everyone's going to give and take a little bit. There's not we're looking for a win-win. And I think that is real step forward in the industry, and you see it from the biggest rights holders to the biggest brands. It's no longer just write me that check now. It's about, okay, let's drive our business and let's do what we can do together.
Yeah, absolutely. And picking up on that relationships thing, I guess one thing that 2020 has done is kind of stripped away relationship building or networking to kind of its raw qualities, if you like. You know, you can't take somebody out for lunch or buy them a coffee to build that relationship and break that ice down. So is it always something that's kind of come quite easily to you in terms of networking and relationship building? And what are those kind of core key skills you think are so important if you want to build long-lasting relationships in the sports industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, to me, the one-on-one conversation is where I get excited, right? I love to learn about people. I love to build a relationship with them. Sometimes networking gets a bit of an odd name, you know, networking in a very sort of, let me hand you my business card, what can I get from you sense. It's something that I sort of makes my skin crawl a little bit, but the networking of getting to know people who have the same challenges, are going through the same, you know, different times and COVID, it brought us all together. It was a unifying piece. And I think authentic relationships where you get to share, where you get to learn, where you get to build something cool together, and maybe that you find some synergies is really the best kind of networking. And I think it's really stripped away probably the parts of networking I don't like, you know, and it's really sort of put us all sort of out there and say, okay, we're going to be on the Zoom call and we're going to talk about things. That's great. You know, I really like that. And I think it's made me more and more comfortable with the word networking, right? And I think it's just built these communities. I really like what you guys have called it. Sort of, it is a community more than anything else, and communities sort of give and take. And I think there's sort of, it's a two-way discussion, right? Versus I sometimes feel like it's like I'm going to push my information to you and you to me, and I think just that for this industry to continue to sustain itself, you know, I think it's and to continue to build and for us to continue to build our networks and get things done and to really get the most out of it. I think you know, it's actually been okay. I thought it was going to be terrible because I'm very big on face-to-face communications. I love to, you know, go for coffee or have a lunch, or, you know, because you learn more about people and what makes them tick. But yeah, how I think when we're all in the same boat, it's actually okay. We're just as open. This has become a very normal setting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely broken down some boundaries, I think, and just made people, like you say, pull together more. And, you know, people are a lot more forgiving and open, I think, to conversations that they might not have been in pre-2020. Were there any sort of pivotal relationships? I'm thinking about you kind of being a young woman going into the MBA. Perhaps you can talk a little bit around that experience, thinking, you know, we're running this Chain Conversations as part of the diversity series, is that we should probably talk about that a little bit in your experiences there, and whether any sort of pivotal people during that time that kind of the relationship for you was really important, and it kind of guided you through your time at the MBA and beyond.
Yeah, you know, and I think the most important part about, I mean, in this industry, mentors are so important, right? I mean, you need people to help you guide it because it's not in a textbook. You know, you can go and have a master's in sports marketing or sports business, and it's not going to probably get you as far as having the right people telling you about their own experiences, because every day is different. And so I had some really great mentors when I was at the NBA, and, you know, one of them actually is now currently my boss here at Wasserman. So this Lindsay, but there are other ones that are male and female, and I think it's really important to look for your mentors as far as what you can learn from them versus doing it by gender lines or, you know, ethnicity lines, or looking for someone who looks like you. What you're trying to do is learn about the industry from everyone's eyes. Perspective is power, and knowledge is power, and you need to find people who are just willing to share with you and look out for you and tell you the straight truth about what to watch out for. This industry isn't perfect, but I think we all are responsible for making the next generation better and the next generation better. And I think that's something that I learned. You know, one of my other mentors was Kelly, you know, at the MBA, and she still remains a very close friend. And you know, she just took the time to stop and talk, took the time to explain, took the time to show what good looks like. You know, and when you're fresh in this industry, and she also took the time to show where the watch outs were, and I really thank her for that. You know, and then Elizabeth showed me, you know, the beauty of working in an agency is not an order taker, but she also showed me just being a person and being, being solutions oriented and being authentic and real, and we all have and showing emotion is okay. That is great. And I think as a young woman coming out of an MBA where I was also one of the few females, and I've sort of always been, I think, bit in minority, or only child with his dad who's sort of an now. I think there was a lot of things that I needed people to help me with, right? Help me understand how to interact and how to play in the space. And I thank them for that. And I think the good news is that people have more time for mentoring now. I know I try to really I know people help me, and I'm really keen on trying to help them. And actually, in this setting, a Zoom call is actually easier than probably popping up for a coffee, doing a 30-minute Zoom with someone. So I think my advice to people is don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to make those connections. Don't be afraid to ask for someone's time. It's probably easier, bizarrely, for people to give it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about leadership there, and it's something, leaders, we talk about a lot about leadership. And I guess for you, thinking about the great leaders throughout your career, what takes people for you from kind of being a really good leader on paper to actually being a great leader and kind of being able to, kind of instill something in people? Can you think of kind of, examples of people that have been those shining examples?
Yeah, I mean, I think, great leaders are ones who don't think they need to do it all by themselves, right? Great leaders are ones who understand that it takes a bit of a movement, right? You need to inspire a movement. You need to have those around you that are that you can count on to be also influencers within the business and to lead the organization forward. I mean, I would say, I don't want to feel like I'm just plugging my CEO, but I mean, I think one of our, I think he's a great leader because he's humble, he's approachable, he's authentic to his own style. He's not sort of banging the table and sort of that leader that's sort of, leading the charge that way, but he's very real, he's very knowledgeable, he's very calm, and I think people need to feel it's all okay, and that's been a big thing here. Is that there's a side of leadership that is just making people feel comfortable, and making people realize that you're human and that you don't know all the answers, but you're damn well trying. Sorry, I mean I shouldn't say that, but you are, and that you have surrounding yourselves with good people to lead an organization. I think that makes a great leader, is someone who knows their style, knows the power of the people and inspiration, and knows that they don't have all the answers all the time.
Lenah, when I think of Wasserman, they're very active, in the diversity inclusion space. I know it's something that's really important for them as a business. So, is there anything that over the next 12 months you're particularly excited about when it comes to that space?
Absolutely, and I will say that I think we've really made some great strides. We have our not unlike other organizations, we would be in the council, and we are we're very active and have appointed a new head of that internally, and there are a number of various initiatives that are moving forward for our team, and you can just see the excitement and enthusiasm. But one that I'm personally excited about and continue to be excited about is what work that we're doing at the Collective. The Collective, as you know, is obviously our women's platform, which is really trying to shine a light on the challenges facing female athletes, female sports, the sort of the inequality that we're facing from pay gaps to so on and so forth. And I think the Collective continues to be a shining light here. It had its 1-year anniversary last year, and this year we're really taking it forward with a think tank where we're, again, from a leadership perspective, I don't think we feel that the Collective is going to solve all of the female sports problems, but I do think it's about leading the way. And one thing that we're doing is obviously bringing consortium schools together and key researchers to come together and talk about the issues that we're facing. And I think that is one of the number one things we can do, and really taking that information and then for our clients, whether it's properties or brand or talent, helping them navigate the waters and be more successful in what they're trying to achieve. So I think that, to me, is what I love. Is it's a passion point and it's a social initiative, but it's actually applicable to the growth of our industry and our business, and that's very exciting. Also, I mean, obviously I'm a woman, so there are a lot of things that I identify with, but it's something that.
Fantastic, and I'm sure we'll hear lots more about that as we go across the year. So I look forward to it. Final question from me, Lenah. Thinking about the thing that we wish we all had, the crystal ball that enables us to look into the future and see what the next 12 months is going to be like. What does it look like for you? Kind of the future of the sports industry. What do you think?
I think it actually it goes back to a question that you said about collaboration. I think, for me, looking into the crystal ball, it is about, changing roles for fans, changing roles for agencies, changing roles for properties. Ideally, we're going to have to operate in a world where there's now a whole new virtual sort of third leg of the fan, right? That we need another revenue stream, which is exciting. So I think, the role of the fan, the role of properties, the role of sports and entertainment, it's all changing. So I think looking into my crystal ball, it's like, I think we all just got to hold on to our hats and work together. And I think there's no rules right now. So we need to work together to find, where is the next generation of the sports industry? Where do the innovations come from? Where are the new revenue streams? And I think, and understanding the roles and the really important role of the fans is ultimately why we're doing this and why we're making sure that we're putting the best sport out there, because that's so important to people from a mental perspective as well, and that's around the world. So that's probably where I would say that what's keeping us all up at night, because there is no answer here. It's more than just trying to get to a revenue number at the end of the year. It's trying to understand which way we're going to go, left to the right, and choose your own ending book. But it's actually also a really exciting time.
I completely agree, Lenah. I think either way, it's going to be an interesting ride, and we'll be here for all of it. So thank you so much. I think we're pretty much out of time, but I've loved speaking to you, and thank you for all of your insights. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Fingers crossed.
I enjoyed it as well. All right. Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.